सोत्तीर्णालु पाण्डवैरणनदी कैवर्तकः केशवः पाराशर्यवचः सरोजममलं गीतार्थकण्ठोत्कटम् नानाख्यानककेसरं हरिकथा सम्बोधनाबोधितम् लोके सज्जन षट्पदैरहरः पेपीयमानं मुदा भूयात् भारतपङ्कजं कलिमल प्रध्वंसिनः श्रेयसे मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुः सुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः।
ॐ नारायणः परो व्यक्तात् अण्डमव्ययसम्भवम् अण्डस्यान्तस्त्विमे लोकाः सप्तद्वीपा च मेदिनी ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। या निशा सर्वभूतानां तस्यां जागर्ति संयमी यस्यां जाग्रति भूतानि सा निशा पश्यतो मुनेः. We are still in the middle of this long bhashya because the more cryptic the verse, the length of the bhashya also increases, because Adi Shankara stops in his tracks and wants to make sure that every single intended meaning of the verse is clear to us. And since we have not met in 2 weeks because of some internet issues, I want to make sure that the last objection we have understood properly. And the last objection, just to summarize, was when the Purva Pakshi, the objector, what does the objector say? The objector says that the person for whom the activity of the Ajnani is like night. So to which reality of frenetic and frenzied activity the person is fast asleep, that reality into which he is awake is different from the activity of the Ajnanis, of the people who don't know the truth of themselves. This was pointed out in this verse, and so the objector, just to summarize this objection, says, well, you know what, I can see why this person is, the Jnani is not active. Okay, why is the Jnani not active? The Jnani is not active because the Veda tells her or him not to be active. So, and since Veda is Pramana, the Jnani is just following the injunctions and the prohibitions of the Veda. Because if you look at the description of the Jnani in a cluster of Upanishads called Sannyasa Upanishad. There is actually one Upanishad called Sannyasa Upanishad, but in that Sannyas, the word Sannyasa Upanishad also refers to a cluster of Upanishads. 4 5 are there, which talks about the sannyasi dharma. And so this person's, the Purva Pakshi's contention is that following this dharma alone, because it is said in the Veda, Vedanta includes the Veda, so since it is said in the Veda that sannyasi should not do anything, that's why the sannyasi is not doing anything. And why? Because Veda is a pramana. It's a very, very sneaky objection. And if we don't pay attention, if you're not fully on alert, we can say, yeah, that makes sense. Veda, after all, is a pramana. And sannyasi, of course, is following Veda, Vedanta / Vedanta, and is following the pramana. Like that one can say. And so therefore, so the Purva Pakshi says, in the case of Jnani, since there is absence of injunction, karma is varjita. Varjita means not possible. No, it's abstaining from karma due to the injunction from the Veda. And then Acharya, Shankaracharya puts him down. Na, he says, Svatma Vishayatvat Atmajnanasya. Because the injunctions and prohibitions in the Veda refer to objects. Suram na pibet, do not drink alcohol. And what else? Swadhyayat ma pramadah, do not neglect the study of your Veda. So the injunctions and the prohibitions, satyam vada, dharmanchara, all these are injunctions and prohibitions. They don't have to do with your nature. If your nature is such and such, what can you prohibit? What kind of vidhi will be there? Atma is satyam, jnanam, anantam is not a vidhi. Atma is free of samsara is not a vidhi, it is a fact. Neither is it a nishedha. Like when negatively it is pointed out, Atma is not the body, that is not a nishedha. It is a fact that is being revealed. And so, so the injunctions and prohibitions have to do with the objects, not the subjects. Nahi आत्मनः स्वात्मनि प्रवर्तक प्रमाण अपेक्षता आत्मत्वाद एव तदन्तत्वाच्च सर्व प्रमाणानां प्रमाणत्वस्य. Two more reasons he offers. One is that nahi, not at all, not indeed, swatmani pravartaka pramana apekshata asti. There is no need for any authority, including pramana, for that which is already self-evident. Two ways things come to be known. One is, it is called pramana siddha, another is swatas siddha. Pramana siddha means that which is revealed through a pramana, that which is dependent upon the pramana to be revealed. Pramana siddha. Swatas siddha means that which is self-revealed. So if something is already available, then why do you need a pramana? And my classic example for that is what? You want to show the sun to somebody who may be an extraterrestrial alien comes and says, what is that? You say it is the sun. And then to show the sun, you take the help of a lamp or a flashlight. It's not necessary. In fact, the sun itself is lighting up the flashlight, and so therefore, in the same manner, for that which is self-evident, which is Atma, the pramana is not necessary. The pramana pravritti is only to dispel the ignorance surrounding the Atma, not to establish the Atma through injunctions and prohibitions. That is the first reason he gives why this won't work. And the second reason is antatvacha sarva pramananam pramanatvasya. So the pramana, the authoritativeness of the pramana terminates at the point of Atmajnanam. Why? Because the pramana, see what does the pramana do? The pramana pravritti means the operation of the pramana knocks off the knower. That I am a knower, that status is knocked off. Very interesting. So the ahankara does not identify solely as the knower. The ahankara now knows that knower I am not the knower. I am not, my nature is much more than the knower. Because if I am just the knower, then what is known, the object of knowledge gets excluded from me. And if the object of knowledge gets excluded from me, then again it is Dvaita. It is not Advaita. Correct? And so therefore, the knower as a separate entity is knocked off. And when the knower is knocked off, the known as a separate entity is also knocked off. And that which is intermediary, that which connects the knower and the known, which is pramana, including Shabda pramana, that is also knocked off as a separate entity because its job is done. Its job is done. So its job is done. Its job was to establish the non-separation of the Atma from anything else. Pramatru, the knower is Atma. Atma is not Pramata. Atma is not the Pramatru. Atma is not the Prameya, not the object of knowledge. Atma is not the Pramana. And so therefore, one is Mukta, free. Not only one has moksha from samsara, one has moksha from this triputi, this triad of Pramata, Prameya, Pramana. This triad is broken up. Nothing there. Everything is one. And so this pramana ceases to have authority. The pramana is the authority only for ajnani. Once the jnanam comes, that the spoof is called, there is all that is there is oneself. All that is there is oneself. Nothing else is there. The pramana is oneself, prameya is oneself, pramata is oneself, everything is one. Not any particular thing, but everything is oneself alone. So the antatvasya, so the atmatvat tad antatvasya sarva pramanam antatvat. All the pramanas end here. They just disappear because the distinction between the knower, known and means of knowledge disappear. And then finally to shut the Purva Pakshi up, he says, Nahi Atmaswarupa Adhigame Sati Punaha Pramana Prameya Vyavaharaha Sambhavati. So Punaha, after knowing the Atma, all the other factors of action, this subject, object, instrument, pramana is an instrument. So the instrument, subject, object, all the karakas disappear as though. In terms of vyavahara, it is there, but cognitively they have disappeared. So therefore, there is no pramana vyavahara possible. Pramana vyavahara means the operation of the pramana is neither possible nor necessary. Pramatritvam hi atmanah nivartayati antya pramanam. So then, nirvartayat eva cha apramani bhavati swapnakala pramanam iva prabodhe. So the pramana, Shabda pramana, the Vedas, the Vedanta as a pramana is the final pramana for this jnani. So the final pramana and antyam pramanam, the final pramana, nivartayati means it denies. It denies any other pramana there. It denies the operation of any further pramana because why? Because in the revelation of oneself as the Atma, which is Brahman, as Brahmatma, which is limitless, which is free, which is whole, it then itself, even though it was a pramana up till now, and it helped the Jnani to become a Jnani. Rather, we should say it helped the Ajnani to become a Jnani. Then what? Then it ceases to be a pramana. It doesn't have that authority anymore, just like the in the dream state, whatever you see in the dream and whatever you think of in the dream, and let's say there is a pramana operation in the dream, you see something in the dream, you are a seer in the dream. When you wake up, what happens? You cease to be a seer. And so this is what he this is how he shuts this very sneaky Purva Pakshi down. And then further, lokecha vastu adhigame pravritti hetutva adarshanat pramanasya. So this pramanasya pravritti hetutva adarshanam asti. So for a pramana, let's say sight, there is it ceases to operate once a thing is known. Once you have ascertained that it is not a snake, it is a rope, you don't have to keep on looking at it and convincing yourself it is a rope, it is a rope, it is a rope. You know the snake was just a aropa. You know that. And this is rope, you know that. Once you know it, you don't have to then jump and then again you operate the pramana. Next time you see the rope, you jump. And then you operate the pramana of sight and then come to know it is not snake. And then again you go do some things. You go for a walk, go somewhere. Again you're coming back to the house. Again you see the snake in the garden. Does it happen like that? No. No, you know it's already a rope. So once you know it's a rope, even loke drishtam, even in the everyday life, once you know that whatever looks scary, whether it looks like a scorpion or whether it looks like a snake, something is lying there, once you know that it is not that, then you don't have to keep using that same pramana in order to keep seeing it again and again, because once the knowledge takes place, no other pramana is needed to keep on proving it. So in the same manner, tasmat na atmavidah karmani adhikaraha iti siddham. He takes it to a different place here now. So he says tasmat, therefore na atmavidah, for the atmavit, for the jnani, na karmani adhikaraha. So there is, for the knower of the self, there is no need to remain in karma, remain as an actor. What kind of a therefore is it? So pramana pravritti ends in the wake of knowledge. Pramana pravritti means what? The operation of the pramana ends in the wake of knowledge. So therefore this person doesn't have to do action. What is the connection? Well, whenever you come to know, generally speaking, whenever you come to know something because of the operation of the pramana, what happens? The knowledge precedes action. Knowledge precedes action. So you come to know something, you can't sit quietly. So any other knowledge of anatma knowledge precedes action. Whenever there is knowledge, and then you can't sit quietly, what happens? The hands itch to do something, the legs itch to go somewhere, and the mind also itches to plan and plot something. Because knowledge precedes action, generally with regard to anatma. So, why does knowledge precede action? Because knowledge precedes desire, and then desire precedes action. So, the first I come to know such and such a thing exists. There is a new flavor of ice cream somewhere, in some place. I come to know. So now I have the knowledge. Before I did not know. What is that? There is some fruit. Lychee. Lychee ice cream. Before that, I did not know there was such a thing called lychee ice cream. In fact, I barely knew there was something called lychee. Then I looked it up. Oh, this is some kind of an exotic fruit and only available for 3 weeks in a year. So there is lychee, and that lychee ice cream is there. And now with that they have made ice cream, fresh lychee ice cream. The existence of neither lychee nor lychee ice cream I knew, but now I know both of them exist. Can I keep quiet? No. Now I want to find out what it is like. And if I don't find out what it is like, then, my mind is leeching away from all the other focuses. I want that only. So the knowledge precedes desire, which precedes action. So then I take myself there, and then of course, it being a limited edition, there is a long queue, and then I have to stand in the queue, and then prarabdha karma being, my prarabdha karma being such that when my turn comes to stand in front of the window, they say, okay, everything is finished. Come tomorrow or come next year, like this. And so this pramana pravritti is connected to action. The operation of any pramana is connected to action except the pramana of self-knowledge. That alone is not connected to action. Therefore, that when the final pramana knocks off the knower is the precursor to the actor, and so therefore, since there is no separate knower, there is no actor. Very nice, wonderful bhashya. Then further, vidushaha त्यक्तैषणस्य स्थितप्रज्ञस्य यतेः एव मोक्षप्राप्तिः न तु असन्न्यासिनः कामकामिनः इति एतम् अर्थं दृष्टान्तेन प्रतिपादयिष्यन् आह. This is a Sangati Bhashya. And before that, before we read this, we'll read the next verse. आपूर्यमाणमचल प्रतिष्ठं समुद्रमापः प्रविशन्ति यद्वत् आपूर्यमाणमचल प्रतिष्ठं समुद्रमापः प्रविशन्ति यद्वत् तद्वत् कामायं प्रविशन्ति सर्वे स शान्तिमाप्नोति न कामकामी तद्वत् कामायं प्रविशन्ति सर्वे स शान्तिमाप्नोति न कामकामी. So this is the 70th verse, and to introduce the 70th verse, there is a small bhashya called Sangati Bhashya. Sangati Bhashya means the connecting bhashya. What connects is called Sangati. So vidushaha, for the vidwan, for the person of knowledge, who is what? Tyaktaišanasya, for the one who has given up all the desires. And what kinds of desires are there? Don't tell me, oh come on, how many desires are there? Where to list? Here, all the desires are divided into three, are categorized into three for easy reckoning. What are the three things? We have seen this before.
Putreshana, Vitteshana, Lokesh.
Putra plus Eshana, Putraishana, not Putreshana. You are absolutely correct. Putraishana, Vittaishana, and then what's the third one?
Lokesh.
Lokaishana. So, Putraishana has to do with any kind of a, small, helpless thing or the desire to take care of. So, Putraishana is also Petaishana, having a pet. Same thing. Something small and needy, I take care of. And so that is the, or something that I want to leave behind as a legacy, and so that is someone who will take care of me, somebody who will love me unconditionally. All this comes under Putraishana. Then we have Vittaishana, security, financial security, money, dhanam, what else is that called? Gold, or any kind of, bonds, and all these things are called Vittaishana. Then finally there is Lokaishana, the proclivity of wanting people around or wanting a following. Even if it be on Facebook Live or Twitter, I want a following. This is what is called Lokaishana. These three divisions comprise all the kinds of desires in the universe. So Lokaishana is the desire to experience various lokas. So don't say, where does food come? Food comes in Lokaishana. And the desire for new things comes under Lokaishana. Because all the lokas, lokyate iti lokaha, lokyate anena iti lokaha. So therefore, these desires come. So tyaktaishanasya, here the vidushi, so the vidushaha, the vidwan, has disregarded or kept to one side all the eshanas, does not indulge in these eshanas. Why? Because the person is a sthita prajna. Sthita prajna yasya, whose knowledge is unshakable, whose knowledge that I am not the karta and I have nothing to gain and I am a self-fulfilled person, is unshakable. So sthita prajnasya gatehe. Gatehe means for the yati, yatnashilasya. The one who has worked hard for this. It's not that the person was born like this. The person worked hard to have a disciplined life first and to be a karma yogi, and then exposed oneself in a committed manner to Atmajnanam, and that's how the person got what? Moksha praptihi. Yatehe eva moksha praptihi. So after doing all the work to have viveka, vairagya, shama, dhamma, etc., then only the person gains moksha prapti. Moksha prapti means the gain of moksha. So the person has moksha prapti, natu asanyasinaha. So here asanyasinaha means the one who has not renounced. It doesn't mean the one who is not in orange. No. So it's the inner disposition of a sannyasi. It's the inner disposition of a sannyasi that matters here, and the inner disposition of the sannyasi is what is the most is of utmost importance. And the inner disposition must be sannyasi like. And so for such a person alone, moksha comes into view. The moksha is one's own nature already attained, but the one who has the inner disposition means extreme vairagya towards all longings, and the one who is steadfast in the knowledge that those two things are important. People can have vairagya without knowing why they are giving up something. That is not the idea. So here vairagya is connected to being steadfast in the knowledge. And so for such a person, sthita prajnasya yatehe, two things are talked about, tyaktaishanaha and sthita prajnaha. So the vairagya, tyaktaishana means the one who has given up the longings, leading to one being established. There's a causal connection. The more vairagya one has, the quicker is the moksha prapti. There is a causal connection. So Vairagya has a fast track. So if you want a fast track to moksha and you are continuing to study, then up the ante on Vairagya. That's what you have to do. And so Vairagya, of course, means letting go. and then of everything, including pet peeves and notions, that also one lets go. And then natu asanyasinah, not to the ones who has not renounced. Kama kaminah, kama kamin, he himself, Adi Shankara will define a little later. We'll see it's a beautiful way of resolving the compound. But for now, we'll just take the meaning, the one who is the incarnation of all kinds of useless desires, kama kamin. So the one who is the desirer of all kinds of desires, such a person is not ready for this moksha. Because the person is mired in all kinds of wants and bhogas, experiences. Iti etam artham. So this very meaning, drishtantena pratipadayishyan, desiring to illustrate this through an example, the Lord says, and what does the Lord say? We already chanted. So apuryamanam achala pratishtham. Apuryamanam means the like an ocean. Apuryamanam, full. And then achala pratishtham. Achala pratishtha, yasya tam achala pratishtham. Achala pratishtham means the one who is established in the knowledge of the self as free from all longings and belongings, and the one who knows oneself as Brahman, the whole, free of all kinds of afflictions, sorrow, fear. Amaya. Amaya means afflictions. That is the person who has achala pratishtha. Pratishtha means establishment. Achala, unshakable establishment in the knowledge. So for one for whom the knowledge has been internalized as one's name. Just like even if one is awoken from the deepest of sleep, by calling out the name, one doesn't forget the name. Even if one has had incidents of fainting, syncope, then they take them to the hospital, and the first thing in the emergency room, what do they ask? What is your name? That is very difficult to forget. Even if the person has fainted and just has come to, immediately they will be able to tell their name. And if they forget that, then the attending doctors know, okay, now there is real trouble because the person is totally disoriented. Something needs to be done here. So the person is, the doctors are troubled if the person forgets the name. But here the person does not forget the name. Very rarely does that happen. And so here, just like one knows one's name, one knows that one is Brahman. That is what is called achala pratishtha. So for this person, so just like this oceanic knowledge, this is what is being illustrated. So, and what is the illustration? The ocean. So since the ocean has a limitless upadhi, the ocean is chosen to illustrate this limitlessness. And so then what is being talked about here is just very beautiful. So just like this ocean, which is full of itself in a nice way, and which does not doubt its identity. Oh, do I have enough water? Am I enough? Am I okay? It doesn't doubt. It doesn't seem to doubt. Or we can say, if it had a human mind, it would certainly not doubt its capacity or its limitlessness. It simply is whole, and it has an endless upadhi, as it were. From the standpoint of NASA space station, the ocean's upadhi is limited. We can see where the land is there. But from the standpoint of the earth, it's an almost limitless upadhi. You can't see to the other side. And then, for this ocean, apaha pravishanti. And this ocean is greeted by the incoming rivers which merge. Apaha pravishanti. Apaha, the word ap, which means water, is always in the plural. So, apaha, because you can't say water, one water is not there in Sanskritam. And so there is no such thing, it cannot be quantified. So it's always in the plural. Apaha pravishanti. So just as the waters enter the ocean without disturbing its wholeness in any way possible. It's not possible for the wholeness to be disturbed. So when the waters enter, the ocean doesn't get excited. Oh, I'm becoming bigger and I'm dependent upon these waters in order to be myself. Without these waters, I would be nobody and I would be nowhere. No such thing. Waters enter, the ocean is oceanic and in its majesty. In its glory, it is there, roaring sometimes, sometimes tranquil, sometimes full of waves, and sometimes full of foam and bubbles. However it is how it is. It does not depend on the waters for its existence or for its identity or for its self-esteem. Supposing a few rivers do not enter, they decide to dry up along the way because of climate change, etc. The ocean doesn't sit and mourn their passage or look for them longingly. So, yadvat, in which manner, tadvat, in the same manner, kamaha yam pravishanti sarve. Sarve kamaha yam pravishanti. All the desires, kamaha means here objects of desires, all the objects of desires as though enter the person of knowledge without causing any change in this person of knowledge, in the jnani. So just like all the desires merge into oneself, just like the waters merge into the ocean and are no longer separate, all the objects of desire and the desires merge into the jnani who is already free, already limitless, without causing a disturbance, without causing any kind of what is called kerfluffle, without causing any kind of a problem. They just merge. That person is the one who attains moksha. Shanti is here described as moksha, as we will see. Sa shantim apnoti na kamakami. The kamakami means the one who is the incarnate, desire incarnate, will not gain this moksha. So here in the last verse and this one, 69 and 70, the role of vairagya in Atmajnanam is being underscored. The role of vairagya in Atmajnanam is being totally underscored. So the ocean has vairagya for all the things that come and merge, and similarly the jnani has vairagya for all the desires which enter the jnani and exit without any problem at all. They just merge into the person because the person is not the desire. The person is not the sum total of the desires, just like the ocean is not the sum total of what? Of all the waters entering it. Very, very beautiful. And so, let us see the Bhashya. Apuryamanam adbhihi achala pratishtham achalataya pratishtha avasthitihi yasyatam achala pratishtham samudram apah sarvato gataha pravishanti svatmastham avikriyam eva santaha yadvat. So apuryamanam is filled, the one which is filled. Apuryamanam means filled. Filled with what? Adbhihi. Third case of apaha. Adbhihi apuryamanam. Filled with water. Full of water. Achala pratishtham. Remains constant. Centered on itself. Not begging for more water or worried that water is evaporating or water is leaving. No. And so even when waters from all sides enter it, it does not undergo any change. It does not undergo any change. Sarvato gataha apaha pravishanti. All sides the water enter it, and so Svatmakhyam, meaning what is oneself, the oceanic self, avikriyam, it is changeless. It does not undergo any modification, internal or external. In the same manner, tadvat कामाः विषयसन्निधौ अपि सर्वतः इच्छाविशेषाः यं पुरुषं समुद्रमिव आपः अविकुर्वन्तः. So here, tadvat, in the same manner, kamaha, all the desires, vishayasannidhau api, even while remaining near the jnani. All the desires, see the jnani, even if the jnani takes a kamandalu and goes to the Himalayas, there will be desirable objects. There will be people, maybe not that many as in the metro cities, but there will be objects. There will be a few people. There will be desires. So, because wherever one goes, there one is. One carries one with oneself. And so the desire is not based on objects, it is based on the subject. And so therefore, it is based on oneself. So here, the jnani, through the training of vairagya and discipline, and through atma jnanam, because of being blessed by the dispelling of the ignorance through self-knowledge and being established in the truth of oneself as Brahman, then what happens? So that person, that jnani, what does that jnani do? Even while being in the presence of all kinds of objects, desirable objects, undesirable objects, etc., then all the longings come and go. Ichha visheshaha. Ichha visheshaha means specific desires. So the jnani, the specific desire, enter the jnani and leave the jnani. Avikurvantaha. Avikurvantaha means without undergoing, without causing any problems. So, without causing any problems, without producing any change. So, avikurvantaha, without producing any change, pravishanti sarve, atmani eva praviliyante. So all the desires, they just merge into oneself because one is not opposed to desire. The self is not opposed to anything, including ignorance. Since the ignorance troubles one, we remove it. But from the standpoint of Atma, Atma is not opposed to ignorance. Atma is not opposed to anything at all. And so therefore, in the same manner, all the desirable objects are near the jnani, and the desires may come and leave without producing any change, and the desires that come are absorbed into the Atma, which is not, so to speak, which is not opposed to any desire. So absorbed means they are not different from the I. Oh, this is a desire. If one recognizes, usually in the world, if one recognizes, oh, I have a desire for such and such object, then that causes a vikriya. Vikriya means a change. From knower, I have become desirer, and then now the desirer, then I have to be an actor in order to fulfill the desire. Then I am an actor, karta. Then when I go and get the object of desire, which is of course away from me, then I enjoy the object of desire, I become bhokta. So you see, so many vikriyas are there. First jnata, I came to know. Then I became the desirer. Then after desirer, then I became the karta, actor. Then I became the enjoyer or the experiencer, bhokta. So these are all vikriyas. So these vikriyas become modifications because I identify with each and every one of them. Now I am bhokta, now I am karta, now I am pramata, now, like this. So each time I identify with that, then each definition is finite. Each identity is finite, and finitude causes sorrow. So now I am an experiencer, but whatever I got in order to satiate my desire fell along the way. So now it is not consumable anymore. So now the bhokta of enjoyment has become the bhokta of sorrow. So the karta, bhokta, pramata, like this, jnata, and and all these things, they cause, these vikriyas cause disturbance. These modifications of various roles and identities cause disturbance in the ajnani, because the person is catching hold of each identity, or rather the identity is catching hold of the person and shaking them up nicely. And so therefore what happens for the jnani? For the jnani, atmani eva sarvam praviliyante. All the desires and all these roles, desirer, knower, everything the person knows. Atma is the the knower is nothing but Atma. Desirer is nothing but Atma. So as soon as I understand that, the desirer merges into Atma as it were. There's only Atma that shines. The desirer comes and goes, one knows that. So when the desirer comes, that person is just not even noticed, because it's, why to notice that which comes and goes? When the desire goes, it doesn't cause a disturbance, because I know who I am. So any other identity that is offered, I'm not interested, because I have the best identity possible. So that's what it is. If somebody has a wonderful job and then you try to offer them another job, they're not interested. Even in another company or in the same company, they say, no, I'm happy being what I am. So it doesn't cause a disturbance. It doesn't cause a disturbance. And so too, the jnani who is secure in the truth of oneself as an oceanic Atma, as an Atma without any end in sight, limitless, full, free of all longings. So the longings which come and go are the property of the subtle body, the mind, etc., or are the property of the this just nature. That's how it is. The longings come, longings go. They are the property of the mind. They are the property of the subtle body. They are the property of the buddhi. I am not the buddhi. I am much more than the buddhi. And so therefore the ahankara of the jnani does not catch hold of the desire and become entrenched in the status of the desirer, and then and identify with the longings, because there is no longing. And the longing is not there because there is 100% sense of belonging. This Atma is I alone, and so there is absolutely no disturbance. Atmani eva praviliyante. They merge in the Atma. Natu svatmavasham kurvanti. They don't, the desires don't possess the person who knows the Atma. Atma, the one who knows the Atma may possess desires, but the desires don't possess them. There is freedom. That is the idea. Further, sashantim moksham apnoti. The person gains shanti. And the shanti here, the best definition of shanti is not relative shanti here talked about, absolute shanti. Moksham apnoti. The person gains moksha. Na itaraha. Not the other one. Who is the other one? Kama kami. Now let us see how Adi Shankara defines this. Kamyante iti kamaha. They are desired, that's why they are called desires. Vishayaha, objects. Tan kamayitum shilam yasya. The one that has the proclivity, the special ability to keep longing for the objects of desire is called kama kami. Kama kami na eva apnoti. the one who has no vairagya, the one who has identified with being the desirer, and the one whose sole primary occupation is to go after some desire or the other all the time. And so that is the kamakami. Na apnoti ityarthaha. That person will not get shanti, will not get moksha. Oh, but isn't moksha the nature of the kamakami? Yes, it is. It is the nature of the jnani, it is the nature of the kamakami also. But what is the difference? The kamakami will never know this. Unless and until the kamakami gives up going after the kamas, the person will not know this, will not know this. And so yasmad evam tasmat, because it is so, this is how it is. And then therefore what should one do? Vihaya kamanyas sarvan पुमांश्चरति निःस्पृहः निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः स शान्तिमधिगच्छति. Again, Vairagya is highlighted as a very important precursor to moksha, prerequisite to moksha. And then there is a way to, it is being reiterated repeatedly, it is being underscored, because even after the gain of knowledge, so after the gain of knowledge doesn't mean, jnani, but when one is a jnani wannabe, there is enough exposure, and then one is proceeding well on the path of knowledge. One feels like, okay, I'm becoming less reactive, I'm becoming more present, I'm becoming more clear, I have more clarity, I have more of all these things, I have more security, fulfillment. Then also there is a reason to guard the vairagya. Otherwise it just very sneakily comes up. All these desires and objects of desire, they can take away. And so this is what was stated earlier. Yatato hyapi kaunteya purushasya vipaschitah indriyani pramadhini haranti prasabham manah. So for someone who has worked very hard and who clearly sees, I am not this body, and who is still working to be established in the knowledge, who is on the way to gain that complete clarity and that complete unshakable nishtha. The sense organs can do a little number on the person and forcibly carry the mind away. So therefore one has to guard the vairagya at all costs. And that's why this verse is given. Vihaya kaman, vihaya, having given up all desires. Yaha, puman, the person who has given up all desires. Charati, wanders around, moves around where? In life. Nisprihaha, without any kind of being hijacked by any kind of longings. Nirmamaha, no sense of myness. Nirahankaraha, no sense of egoism. Egotism is not there. And then that is the person who gains moksha. This is what is the translation. The translation is that the connection of these three things to moksha. First is vairagya and desirelessness. Vairagya for all kinds of longings, leading to desirelessness and leading to not having any kind of a possessing relationship with objects, and not even allowing the ahankara to possess any kind of notions or identity. That is the person who attains this moksha. Bhashya. Vihaya parityajya kaman yaha, the one who has given up. Parityajya, another word for vihaya. Paritaha tyaktva. So giving up all kinds of longings from all sides. Yaha sannyasi means the renouncer. Sarvan puman sarvan asheshatah kartsnyena, fully, the one who has fully and honestly given up all the longings. And then the person moves. Charati. Even Adi Shankara defines even the word charati. Charati means Jivan matra cheshta asheshah cheshta sheshah paryatati. Atati moves around only for the sake of one's existence. Moves around means the activity. One's activity is confined to one's subsistence. Eating, drinking, and whatever clothes to wear one needs, that is all. One's activity is not more than that. That is what. So there is a connection between giving up of all longings and then reducing one's activity. So longings and activity, there is a connection. Vairagya and moksha, there is a connection. And then between activity and understanding, making moksha one's own, internalizing the moksha, also there is a connection. And then nisprihaha. So first, what is that? Charati. First charati is there, and vihaya kaman charati. How charati? How does the person moves? How does the person move? Nisprihaha charati. Sharira jivan matre api nirgataha sprihaha yasya saha nisprihaha. This is now very, very extreme. You have been duly warned. So the person says sharira jivan matre api. So first it was allowed that the person moves around just fulfilling the bare necessities. Then nisprihaha means even for the sake of the upkeep of the body, all desires are not there. All desires have vanished from whom? Nisprihaha. So even though the sannyasi, the person who has no longings, is allowed by the society, by the shastras, to move around for the sake of alms, for the sake of bhiksha, for the sake of subsistence, to do whatever one needs to do for the sake of keeping the body in good health and alive, nisprihaha kind of negates that, because even though that allowance has been given, the sannyasi himself, herself is not that crazy about upkeeping the body even. That is the idea. Then nirmamaha, next word. Sharira jivan matra matra akshipta parigrahe api mama idam iti abhinivesha varjitaha. Abhinivesha means some kind of intention. So varjita, devoid of intentions. And what devoid of, what kind of intentions? Mama idam iti. So mama idam means this is mine iti intention. Even for the bare necessities, the sannyasi does not say, this is my begging bowl, this is my kamandalu, this is my cloth. Even for that, there is no mamata, there is no minus. This is my room. There is no minus, there is no meanness in residing in all these objects which are defined as bare necessities. Even there, this is mine. This kind of a wrong understanding is not there. And then finally, nirahankara is described by Adi Shankara as Vidyavattvadi nimitta atma sambhavana rahitaha. Very beautiful. Vidyavattvadi nimitta. So Vidyavatvam nimittam yasya. This is the learning is an instrument for which what? Sambhavanayaha, for which recognition. Even that is given up. I am a learned man, I am a learned woman. Even that thought is given up. This is nirahankara. Because what can the sannyasi identify with? It doesn't look nice to say, I have two begging bowls, one steel and one bone china. There is nothing to, tout there. So where is the place where there is a nidhi? Where is the treasury? Oh, I know everything by heart. Pat, pat, pat. I can recite the Mundakopanishad. I can recite the Gita backwards and forwards. And I can do this and I can do that. And just tell me the number of the Paninian Sutra and I will give you its meaning. I will give you its vritti. And I will give you the Vartika. And then I will give you Kashika vritti. I will also look at it from Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi. And I will look at it from all these other things. By me and all these commentators, I know all of them, and I'm going to give it all to you. There is no showing off, and then there is no showing in either. So may not be showing off, but inwardly is puffed up like a pomfret. Pomfret is a kind of a fish, okay, a fat fish, and so is inwardly not puffed up and outwardly not showing off anything, walks through the world. All the Vedanta Shastra says, all the Prakarana Grantha say, the Jnani walks absolutely dumb. Dumb means acting as though I don't know anything. So this is what is nirahankara. I have written this, I have composed this, I need that, all that ahankara, the identification, because the identification has gone from the worldly objects, and then it is very easy for the identification to go sit in the head and say, I know this, I am the knower, this knowledge is mine and nobody can take it away. That also is gone. Abhinivesha varjitah, devoid of even that sankalpa and devoid of this. Therefore, I should be respected. Adi Shankara says, Sambhavana should be there. Some other people should recognize my learning and for the sake of the learning, respect me. That is also not there. I should be noticed, I should be respected. This, the one who is free entirely from the vanity of learning is the one that is talked about. And then we have the last verse left for us to finish off this chapter, which we will do next week, and then enter into chapter 3. Congratulations to everyone who has survived so far the Bhashya classes. May this long continue for the sake of the learning. That is my prayer. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaga Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you.
I am Swamiji. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Lokaishana, not Lokeshana, Lokaishana, Vittaishana, Putraishana are mapped to incorrect understanding of the three Purushartha. Lokaishana, Dharma for Swarga, Vittaishana, accumulating wealth, and Putraishana, yeah, you can take it that way. You can take it that way. Very nice. Yeah. Okay. Om.